Okay, so welcome to your next drawing challenge. In this one, we're going to look at the pen and paint bucket tool. So the objectives for this lesson are to learn the pen tool and what it can do, use all the properties and techniques from the pen tool, and then we're going to use the paint bucket tool to fill the drawing. Finally, we're going to export to either a PNG or a JPEG. And your challenge for this project is going to be, you're going to draw a picture of Gengar, which should be very, very fun. Now, the pen tool is a lot more complex than anything we've looked at so far, but it's one of the most powerful tools that a designer can use in any drawing program. So keep this in mind. So as per usual, let's open up Adobe Animate and let's come to HTML5 canvas. If you want to, you can change the canvas size. So let's just go over to this. If you want to change the canvas size, just come over to here. So if we change it to something like 800, and it really doesn't matter, but I kind of like a big stage at the moment, so we're just going to do that. So 800 by 700 is what I'm going to use. Now, one thing you should look at here is the fact is when I changed the size, it was off screen. So what you can do is you can change this property here that says 100%, and you can say fit in window, or you can say 100%, or you can say show frame or whatever. Now this is slightly too big, so let's just change that to 600. And then we have our canvas. So the next thing we want to do is look at what the pen tool is. So over on your left hand side, remember, if you don't see the screen like this, make sure you're in classic mode rather than essentials, and then your screen will look exactly the same as mine. If it doesn't, you can always click on the reset button to reset all of your palettes. So the actual one that we want, let's make this a bit bigger. The actual one that we want is this one here, and it's called the pen tool, and it's not a tool that you can just start drawing. So in the past we've clicked and we've dragged. Now if you click on your left mouse button and drag, this kind of thing happens, and when you let go, it's kind of like, oh, what happened? That's not what I wanted. And then when you click again, it creates this curved line. You think, oh, that didn't really happen the way I wanted to. So I just press Control Z to undo that. Now the pen tool is very powerful, but it does take a little bit of time to get used to. So let's try this first task. Click once with your left mouse button, then move your left mouse button. So I'm not clicking at the moment, I've not got my mouse button held down. That's really important. So I'm going to click again, and you'll notice that it creates the line for me. If I click again, it creates another line for me. If I click again, it creates another line for me. And then finally, if I hover over my original, I get this little O appear. Now that basically means it's going to create a full shape. So if I click now, it will create a full shape. Now to release this curve, or to release this line, this pen line, press the escape button on your keyboard, or you can come up to your black mouse button and click anywhere in the white. But for this, I just use the escape button. Now, just like any of your tools, over on the properties panel, you can change the color, you can change the stroke, you can change the style, the width, the cap, and so on. So you can have a little play around with them. They're pretty much generic for all of these kind of drawing tools. So let's use the black arrow tool and let's just delete what we've just done. So if you want to create straight lines, the pen tool is fantastic, and you can just create a straight line however you want, and there you go, we've got this nice box, and then we can close it. But it's so much more powerful than that. The next thing you can do is if you click once, go back to the pen tool, click once, and then rather than just clicking this time, click and hold and then drag. What you'll notice is you're creating a curved line, and you can curve this however you want. It's really, really cool. Now the next line is also going to be curved, and it will follow the kind of pathway in which you've already done. If you let go without dragging and you then click again, the next line you create is going to be straight. And you need to keep this in mind, is that it's the clicking and drag that causes the curved line, and then it's the single click without dragging that then resets it on the next pass to have this straight line. And then finally, when you get back to the beginning, you can create this full shape. So pause the video and just have a little practice with creating curved lines, straight lines, combinations, and then closing the shape. So the next thing you need to know is that if you come over to the pen tool and you click and hold it, you get these extra options. You can add points wherever you want, which is really cool. So if I click anywhere in this line, I can add these little points. And this will allow you to make even more complex lines. You also have another one that says delete those points. So the points that you've just created, if you click again, you can delete these, and you can delete as many as you want. And it tends to be, you want a really simple shape. So a nice simple shape will have fewer curves or fewer points. Now the next one you want is this convert anchor point. So for instance, if you have this straight line, you think actually I wanted that to be a curved line, you can click on this little dot here and you can drag, and then it always does this. It always kind of creates this loop. So if you hold down while you're clicking, and then you can turn it round until you get the desired effect. Now if you go inwards or outwards, it will change the curve, and then you can let go. Another thing is now you've got this line selected, this convert anchor point selected, you've actually got control over individual anchor points as well. So if you want that line to be straight, you can create it individually, and it goes for any of these. If I select this one here, for instance, and you might need to go to the white arrow tool for this, but if you select this one here, and you'll be able to start seeing your lines and your curves, and if you click and drag, you can see that it moves around. Sorry, that's the wrong one. So let's just try it one more time. Because it's a straight line, it's not giving me the properties that I wanted. So let's just click drag, so we've got those handles, and then let's let go. So if we go back to the white arrow tool now, and then select the line, and then select the dot, you'll notice that these handles come up. And this is where the white arrow tool comes in really, really useful, is because you can just come in and you can change these anchor points, and you can change these as much as you want. But you'll notice that at the moment it's moving it together. There is a shortcut key so you can move them individually, but if you come over to this convert point and then just hover on the end, you get the access to just kind of change one point at a time. Okay, so pause the video and give those techniques a chance, and just try and convert some of these anchor points, make some straight lines, make some curved lines, and change the depth at which you curve as well. Okay, so that's pretty much the power of what we've got here. I'm going to set you a little task now. And your task is to create this fella here, which is Gengar from Pokemon. We love Pokemon here, so we're just going to create some Pokemon ones. And you'll notice that these are multiple lines. So you will have to press escape a few times and then restart your line. Let me just show you that real quickly. So if we go back to the pen tool, and we create one line, say for the ear, and think, right, that's okay. So now we press escape. That will allow us to start a new line. So say for instance, we want to create the top of his head, and you, press escape again. Then you click once, and then you click and drag the next time, and then you can create the top of his head, and then, undo that one. And then you press, click, drag, create top of the head, and then press escape, and then it released it. So you are going to have to create multiple lines to create Gengar and this kind of shape. So you might want to start with the outline shape, you might want to start with the arms, you might want to start with the ears. I would definitely leave the facial kind of elements till last, okay? So your next mission then is to create Gengar. So pause the video and create Gengar for me, please.